All right, we're going to try as much as possible to
make the best of the time.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has concluded plans to use the bank verification number, the BVN, of customers to blacklist loan defaulters from accessing further loans in the nation's banking system. And CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele says the plan to blacklist loan defaulters is to enable local entrepreneurs and manufacturers increase access to loans as part of the efforts to grow the economy and create more jobs.
Now, this is not the first time the CBN will be reading out the Riot Act to loan defaulters. Records show that some prominent Nigerians who cut corners to obtain huge loans from banks sometimes do so with the intent of not paying back. Now, these individuals not only create liabilities for the banks, but also reduces the chances of other business-inclined Nigerians in obtaining loans. Now, these are some of the issues right now. Now, we have joining us right now a financial expert, Tunde Gafa, right now in the studio. Good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, like I just read out, this is not the first time the central bank is making a move to say, okay, we want to see how we can curb loan defaulters. What is going to be different with this one?
Well, it's going to be a bit different because hitherto there had not been in existence the innovation of BVN, this bank verification identification, because people who come for loans normally, they don't give them adequate biometric data of themselves. A lot of them give false names, false addresses, of course with the connivance of an insider from the bank.
Within the banking system. Yeah.
So nobody can default a bank without an insider assistance. That I know.
So what happens there? How far-reaching really should this blacklisting go? Some have said, look, the terms of loans from banks in the first place make it almost impossible for any genuine, borrower to actually pay back.
Genuine, you said?
Yes.
I agree with you, because those who get loans in the bank, and 90% of them are not genuine, really.
What percentage?
Almost 90% of them.
Wow.
Okay.
Because you see, as I said earlier on, you cannot get a bank loan as to while a defaulter without the assistance of an insider. And therefore, the banks turn their back to genuine loan seekers and start to give the people who are their favorites, who connive with them. Now, I happen to have been part of a team employed by Nexim back at one time to run after these loan defaulters. What you find is that holding their file or making queries about these people, you will find that they have no records. The names are false, the address is false, everything about them is false. And if it is a big loan, you will discover that the officers in charge in the bank too will have resigned. And therefore, for those of us who are running after these loan defaulters, we always meet a brick wall, because there is no, you can't really trace them.
So beyond this blacklisting, what more can the CBN do for future deterrence of those who don't even intend to pay back?
Well, we have the first problem they have is to locate these loan defaulters. But with BVN now, the biometrics or data of everybody is embedded in BVN via, if you add national identity card. If everybody is registered, if you want to, that's why they should go ahead and conclude the job on registering everybody on national identity card. Because on identity card, all your biometrics data will be there. You have a number. And each time you are asking for a loan, you probably will register that along with BVN. So it will be easier a job for the bank supervision department of CBN to be able to trace these defaulters. Right now, you can't trace any defaulter, because when they are coming, because they don't have intention to pay, as she said, they will give you all false data.
All right. We've also seen the possibility of genuine customers who want to take loans who also default.
Yes.
That's not to say everyone who defaults didn't have intention to pay.
back.
Now, let's get back to the issue of the conditions sometimes for loans and the issues of interest rates and all of that. Is it easy in that context for even those who get loans to pay back in real terms?
Well, I've always had the opinion that the banks are not helping matters by high interest rates. Because if you lend to somebody, I mean, it's like lending to somebody who has the ability to pay back. Now, if you want to lend money out and you put a very high rate of about almost 30%, now, the chances are that the man will struggle and struggle and struggle, and if he cannot meet up, because of the vagaries of business environment, the uncertainties in the economy, anything can happen to a genuine businessman. The change of legislation can even change the mode of his trade. And therefore, it did not want to, but it will. It will default. But then, if the interest rate is lower, you probably will have found some alternative to maintain its integrity and to its agreement with the bank to make sure of his continuity of his business, because it is when you pay your loan that you can get another one.
All right. So in this case, it shouldn't. The CBN shouldn't be worried only about blacklisting these people, but looking into the policies and all of the foundational
fiscal
things.
and monetary policies must be
helping
checked.
those who genuinely want to pay back their loans but are not able to for various reasons, including the ones you've just cited.
Yeah.
Before coming out with this throwing away the baby with the bathwater kind of policy.
Come again.
How can the CBN, my question is, how can they help those who genuinely want to pay back before carrying out this particular policy? Because it could be counterproductive.
Yeah, but let them reduce the interest rates first, and let them strengthen their banking supervision department, and more scrutiny about who they are giving out loans to. And if they work with the National Identity Card and they work with the BVN, the VVN, they'll be able to trace in case of any default. Because if you find defaulters, you might be able to, a bank should find out why it defaults in the first place. Yeah. It might be, as I said, some business misfortunes. But then,
recession and what have you,
and so on.
or force majeure.
I think
what about the 40% within the banking sector that's responsible for the about 6 trillion naira non-performing loans?
Well, insider abuse.
Yeah.
A lot of this.
Happen to them?
Yeah. Well, they know it. They know where those ones are. As far as I'm concerned, the 40% you are talking about, the CBN knows who is responsible for that, because it's an insider abuse. Because come to think about it, you will find a lot of things being condoned by CBN, either out of laxity or out of interest. But it's known to them. And I want to believe that if really they want to do their work, they can reduce that percentage.
Would you advocate for something like a loan amnesty, just like it was given in the area of tax?
Inevitable. Loan amnesty, because first of all, you find out that a loan, a 100 million naira loan, in less than 2 years, will have catapulted to almost 200 million.
If not more.
If not more. So the first thing you have to do, please go back, cut out all the interest on it, and talk to the defaulter, make a payment plan for him, help him to be able to pay, because you don't expect your debtor to die.
So in many cases, many have actually committed suicide.
See, so now, if you want them to really still live, you need to assist them to live.
Okay, so Emefiele is saying that the idea is to increase financial access to SMEs, and they make up about 95% of businesses in Nigeria.
Did they give to the SMEs in the first place?
Well, that's what they're saying, that we need to make funds or money available
it's a convenient excuse.
to them. Okay. Really?
I
So you're saying that this policy may not even work?
The amount allocated to SMEs are lying fallow in the central bank there.
24 billion, according to...
Yes, and who did they give? They've not been able to... The people who should benefit from this particular loan could not have access to this loan because of the stringent conditions and so on and so on. And invariably, you find out that the SMEs don't have collateral, which the bank always insists on.
Yeah.
All right, we have to leave you here now. Tunde Gaffa, financial expert, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Right.
Thank you.
Good. Right, this is where we come to the end of today's edition of the program. We'll be back again tomorrow with other issues. Have a great day ahead. I am Mike Okwoche.
And I am Ngozi Ali. Will have a beautiful day.